Welcome back, everybody. Here I am, Ezekiel the Third, on the Twitch stage, powered by Fandom, and I've got Seltzer. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Zeke, we are pretty lucky here because we're going to be talking about a very sweet game.
And it's out now.
It is.
Yes, we got Rich Gallup here.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Good. It's good to have you, man. We were talking backstage. You're actually a pretty great guy.
Well, thank you.
You're
You
welcome.
seem all right yourself.
But you are the...
I'm the executive producer, Disruptor Beam, home of The Walking Dead March to War, which you just saw the trailer for, as well as Game of Thrones Ascent and Star Trek Timelines. You should be playing all of them. If you are not, please download them. They're free.
Man, I just got to ask you, like, Disruptor Beam has, like, the biggest titles. You got Star Trek, Game of Thrones, Walking Dead.
And more in the works.
And more in the works.
Yes.
Awesome. Tell us about March to War. When did it come out? It just came out, right?
March to War just came out. Please don't ask me the exact date because
okay.
it's Comic-Con, but
Don't worry about
it's only been out for like a month or so.
Sweet, man.
And the game is a strategic war game, free to play.
Free to play.
Free to
That's
play.
very important.
So that means you should
You
just
download
get
it right now for free.
because it's free. Yeah.
Yep.
It's Washington, D.C. We're licensing Robert Kirkman's comics from Skybound Entertainment, of course, and it's right about where the March to War volume kind of happens, and we branch off a little bit from there. So, like, Negan's around.
Yep.
Bats have been swung into heads, but the next stuff hasn't happened yet. So,
Right.
yeah.
It's the saviors are there,
Yep.
but it's before the war, before the
Exactly.
all-out war.
It is like you might
All-out
say
war.
the March to War.
Yeah, they're
Exactly.
You could,
indeed
we're-
on their way.
Yeah,
perhaps.
exactly.
I can't help but every time I see it, I want to say, the March to War.
You know,
Our boys are going.
we make that joke too, and that's how the game works actually. So like, imagine like you're in the world of Walking Dead, you're in the Washington D.C. area, and you and a few thousand other people are also there, and you got all these big, you know, there's Rick, there's Negan, there's Michonne, there's the Hilltop, there's Ezekiel.
Jesus.
Exactly, and you are trying to fit your way into that world. So you start gathering survivors. So like if you played a free-to-play war game, you have so I'm gonna have thousands of soldiers and I'm gonna throw them at you and they'll all die and I'll just do it again.
Right.
For us, if someone dies, it really hurts because you have like 10 scraggly dudes and dudettes following you around and you're like, okay, we should go do this so we can get some stuff. Maybe they won't catch us. And like, oh, if they do, it hurts. But if you hurt them, it's what I like to say is. You can start building. So if you exist in this world of Walking Dead and you just want to build, you can do that for a little bit and you're safe. But then at some point, you're like, I need more stuff.
So this forces you to play kind of all the different branches, all the different types of ways to play the game.
Exactly.
You can't just farm. You can't just fight.
You can be a little Herschel in that you farm. And you can be a little Rick in that you lead people. But at some point, you got to be Negan. He knows.
You got to be. Sometimes, man. Sometimes you got to eeny, meeny, miny, moe that stuff.
Exactly. And what I found, especially in our internal play tests, it's a real like psychological evaluation of yourself. So my name's Rich. My dad's named Rick. I'm like, I'm executive producer. It's kind of a leader of a title. I'm like, I'm a good guy.
Right.
Like I'm not gonna attack my fellow coworkers because I believe in all of us. And then
man.
I was like, I kind of need some stuff. And you scouted me. You had the gall to scout me? Slam 15 people over your base. I took all your stuff. And I'm Negan all of a sudden.
I want you to just describe the player-to-player interaction.
Excellent. So, all right, so you have your base. You have your survivors, and there's there's thousands of other bases around the map, and there's strong community. You can pair up with 30 other people, and you can try to defend each other. You can garrison on each other, but at some point, you're going to be scouting other people. You're going to be attacking other people, and when you attack, you are using a council member that you know from The Walking Dead. Like you're going to pair Rick up with 5 of your people, and you're going to march over, and you will win or lose, and you'll send other people. We have roughly currently, like you're seeing some of the council members right now. You can use Michonne, you can use Rick, you can use folks like Rosita, and we're currently working on adding Ezekiel and Shiva. We're two of the most.
As you know, Ezekiel is close, near and dear to my
We knew you
heart.
would be here for this, so we are trying to add
Put the
Ezekiel
pressure
just
on.
for you.
Yeah.
And I guess you're Shiva then in this example.
Sure, yeah, I'll
does
take
that
the
work?
destroyer.
Excellent. Yeah.
But tell us
yeah.
the Shiva. Tell us that.
So it's a tiger.
Right.
So like you're sending 5 dudes with a tiger to go attack other people. Like what could go wrong?
Yeah.
Nothing.
And the tiger can like lead the squad.
The tiger leads the squad. And we're working on stuff like we're big believers in story. From our Game of Thrones game to our Star Trek game to our Walking Dead game, we're all about story. So there's actually a story arc which is new to the war genre. Like when you play these games, like there's always that little objective that pops up in the corner. Like, hey, you should get some stuff. Hey, you should get some other stuff.
Right.
So ours for that is tied into a story led by our new original character, Amira, who we developed with the help of Skybound. She is the daughter of the former ambassador to Jordan, so she knows the Washington, D.C. area. And you get to learn a lot of interesting stuff about her, about just her personal journey as to how she ended up where she is. Like, we slip in, there's some stuff about, like, how her religious beliefs commingle with this new world. You know, there's some nice depth in there, but it's presented in like nice, short, manageable chunks because it's a mobile game. We know that you guys playing mobile games, you just want to hit buttons and keep playing. But like, story's good for you. Have some story. You're like, okay, I'll read a little. Let me get back to it. So we have that, and then also we have stories for each individual council member as well.
Okay.
So Shiva's story, I'm not going to spoil it. One of the most complex and deep stories in the game, obviously.
I'd imagine, yeah.
That's complete sarcasm.
No. Something you were telling me backstage, you and your cohort?
Yep, sure, yes.
Were telling me backstage about landmarks.
Exactly, awesome. So landmarks right now. So we started the game, we launched the game, let everyone get their footing, make your base build up a little bit. And by the way, you're in Washington, D.C. Wouldn't it be sweet to like live in the White House?
I mean,
yeah, not bad, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be sweet to live at the Lincoln Memorial?
That one.
The Pentagon's on there. The baseball stadium that we could not use the license name for is there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
The Wegman Stadium.
The blankies.
Exactly. They're good at baseball. And also and then the iconic locations from the game, like Hilltop, Sanctuary, Alexandria, the Kingdom. And when you open the map and you look at it, it's kind of like you're zooming around like the Google Earth version of the map. You're just scrolling around like, oh, there's, and I've tested it with friends who live in DC. I was like, can you find your block? And they're like, I can, but you turned it into a forest. And I was like, I understand. We're not going to put every building exactly, but.
You're like, you're welcome.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It looks like you're in a city, and you look like you could like craft some cool narratives for yourself. Like, I'm living in this brownstone in Georgetown, and this is my house, and we're defending this until we have to move somewhere else because someone comes and kicks us out. But so the landmarks are big. You pair up with your community. 3 to 5 people get to go in there, and then people try knocking you out. It's about like exerting your dominance in the world of Walking Dead.
Of course. So there is not a way, would you say that there is not a way to play it completely like pacifist?
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Do I have to attack my friends?
So,
like,
well, you don't have to attack
you
don't have to attack your friends.
Do I have to attack other people?
So there are players who want to play like that.
Sure.
And what's great about you make a game like this and you say, hey, we want tens of thousands of people playing together, they figure out how to do that themselves. So like, and we are paying attention to all of our servers and all of our feedback and watching the forums and everything. And there are people like just setting up rules like, these people, you can't attack them. And if you attack them, the entire server will unite to wipe you out. And there are other people who are like, rules are dumb. Peace is boring. Let's go. And then you get to find out who wins, like the people who want some sort of order, or people who want some chaos, and it ebbs and flows. It goes back and forth.
Can you trade among communities, things like that, or ultimately when food gets scarce, you're gonna?
Not yet, but players can develop ways around that for sure. Like
That's
you
so
set
cool.
up
You
a farm
drop something
account,
here
exactly, and you hit that person. They're undefended. There's a whole bunch of food. You can have it. You figure out ways to do it. And of course, as developers, we see like, oh, you guys want to trade? Maybe we're working on trade. Maybe that's on the backlog right now. There's once you make a game that's based on the community, there comes a point where like you are just listening to the community and you say like, we have some stuff that we want you to do because we know that generates money and we know that helps us do more stuff for you. But like, players have a voice. Like, get in this game. Tell us what you want. Tell us how you want to see this world evolve, and we'll try to do our best to make it all mesh together.
And that's something I actually wanted to bring up as far as the free-to-play aspect. What can players spend their money on? Like actual real money.
Exactly. So our currency is bullets.
Okay.
And so you're trading cash for bullets. And
of course, like
you need
ammunition and food are like the two currencies
exactly
in The Walking Dead.
We don't quite have like Eugene there with his bullet factory being like, thank you, but
right.
You can picture that if you want to.
You don't want to deal with Eugene anyway. He's kind of weird.
So like with any mobile game, there are speed ups you can buy. There's also we have peace agreements, more or less, ceasefires you can buy where it's like, all right, I just don't want to get hit for 8 hours. The players don't know who I'm in a game, but maybe I have a shield up right now because I don't want to be hit while I'm talking to you guys because I'm away from my game right now. Maybe. Yeah, please.
So what's your screening?
I can't say.
Can't or won't?
Because I don't want my wife to know how much money I've spent in this game.
Good call, man. That's a good call.
Yeah, so we're very serious about our games, and all of our games, we are playing them alongside the players, and we talk about stuff like that. Like, do we put like DB-Rich? Is that me? I was like, no, because that that completely changes the play experience. Like all of a sudden, like I am now a character in the game, and I don't want that. I just want to be a player. We all just want to be players. We want like we're all in communities with other players. We're all trying to make sure like we don't want to be the ones putting ripples in the water of how the game changes, because we want the players to show us where that path leads.
Sure. And is everything you pay for, can you wait for it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, there's some waiting stuff, and there's like, so what I might do is like, I want to upgrade my base to level 10, and I need 1 million food to do that, and I have 750,000 food. I could either come hit you, and like my dudes will get hurt because you're heavy, or I could just buy a little crate of food.
Okay.
It's stuff like that. So you can play free and thrive. You will just take a little bit longer. It's that balance, right?
Yeah, totally, man.
It's the free-to-play
I play
economy.
mobile games, man. I know how this works.
Exactly. So
it's like you're gonna wait, or you're gonna get impatient, like me.
And you need. It's funny seeing like how the different archetypes of players or how different styles of play match up to how different spending patterns. Because like there's no like, well, they spend money, they're gonna win. It's like, no, guess what? Like the scrappers, like they want it more. They're hungry, and you turn your back on them for a second. Like that money you spent.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Obviously,
I'm a free-to-play player, so I love guys like Zeke because they come in and they play a little bit, and then they leave their big pile unattended.
Exactly.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm in here 18 hours a day.
Yep.
Yeah, it's motivation versus impatience.
Yes, that's some of it. It's and as a customer-centric, player-centric company like Disruptor Beam is something we're always kind of struggling with. Like, how do we make money, but also make sure everyone's also having a good time? Like, someone did a breakdown on how The Walking Dead monetizes, and I thought there was a great praise that it talked about how like we are generous than other free-to-play games, and so half of me is like, oh, maybe we're leaving money on the table, but also like, hey, guess what? They get it that we're trying to be cool to players, and we think that is a path to success as a company as well.
It's awesome, and I gotta say, like, one thing that really stuck out for me is the new kind of art style.
Yes.
It's not only the graphics of the city, but actually the styles of the characters have a different.
Exactly. So we have our own internal art team led by some great people. We're also working with this guy, Richard Flapchap Anderson, who does a lot of the character art. And the thinking is that, like, all right, I'm starting a community, and you join me. How am I going to make you an ID badge? I don't have a camera, don't have like my little printer. I'm gonna sketch. So that's the kind of style. It's like, all right, if I'm gonna have you on my team, good. This is all right, yeah. So that's the style. We're trying to think, like, we're trying to make you feel like you're in the world. Because like if it was just like, here's a 3D rendering of your Survivor, you're taken out of that moment a little bit. Like, I'm not in a video game. I'm in the video game. I'm not living in the world of Washington D.C. So
yeah, I love the extra thought to that. I mean, it's a popular thing among friends now to be like, okay, zombie apocalypse. What would you do? How would you do it? It really seems like, this will be an accurate measure of, people's decision-making abilities in these times. It seems like the choices you have to make are constantly, like, big, game-changing, hard choices. Are you ever going to knock yourself out of the game? Like,
am I going to stop playing it?
Or not
like,
you. Like, can you render your account like kind of like useless and dead? Can you die?
You can get wiped, but you can always build yourself back up if you have the time and you have the patience. What you learn very quickly in a game like this, in the world we created with the help of Skybound, is like you need friends.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you heard about this awesome guy in New Jersey who built like this 100-person survival bunker, and he's donating it all to Puerto Rico. Super rad story. But like you hear about those survivalist types, and you're like, I feel like, to me, like that's the lone. That's someone who tries playing by themselves and farming. Like, all you're doing is creating yourself as like a mid-boss.
You got to John Goodman some people into your bunker.
Exactly. Maybe not that. But you definitely need friends, because if you're just trying to farm for yourself and just kind of build up, all you're doing is making yourself a target, and you need to find other people that you can share with and thrive with.
Very cool.
Absolutely. Well, Rich, thank you for coming on and telling us about the game. Walking Dead March to War is available right now, and it's free.
Google.
Disruptor Beam, they have a lot of other cool games too. Check out Disruptor Beam and get that downloaded now. It's free. You got nothing to lose. So don't go away. We got more stuff coming to you from the Twitch stage, New York Comic Con 2017.